Building a functional alternative government, a step-by-step plan for when institutions fail and why we should be getting a move on. Hi, I'm Sebastian Winters, and this is PS on the BS. I'm coming to you from a truck stop in Remington, Indiana, where it is so cold outside that I've got to keep the truck running tonight, so bear with me as I do this with a lot of extra background noise. History doesn't repeat itself necessarily, but it often rhymes, says Mark Twain. When governments collapse under their own weight, whether through corruption, incompetence, or sheer inertia, power doesn't just disappear, it shifts. The people who are prepared to step in at that moment define what comes next. The American colonists understood this in the year before the Revolutionary War. They didn't wake up on July 4, 1776 and suddenly declare independence. They spent years constructing an alternative governing system, one that could function when the British imperial system became unsustainable. That infrastructure made independence inevitable. So if history tells us anything, it's this. When a government is in decline, the responsible course of action isn't panic, it's preparation. Here's how to build an alternative government that is ready to function if or when the existing one collapses. Step 1. Establish a parallel communications network. Governments exert their control through information. Whoever controls the narrative controls the people. That's why the first step in building an alternative system is creating independent lines of communication that can't be shut down. Local networks, small, decentralized councils. I think the committees of correspondence from 1772 could be our guide. Those keep communities informed and connected. Digital infrastructure, encrypted messaging platforms, independent news sources, and decentralized media networks to bypass corporate and government censorship. Reliable physical communication. In case of internet restrictions, alternatives like shortwave radio, peer-to-peer mesh networks, and old-fashioned print media ensure that people can stay informed. The goal is simple: prevent information blackouts, counterattack disinformation, and ensure that when decisions need to be made, the right people are connected. Step 2, create local governance structures. Power at its core is about legitimacy. People follow leaders they believe in, and when faith in the current system collapses, an alternative must already exist to take its place. Community councils, these should be formed at the neighborhood and town levels, consisting of people with a proven track record in leadership, logistics, and community service. Security and stability units, not private militias, but organized teams that can maintain order, settle disputes, and ensure public safety in the absence of law enforcement. Economic coordination, systems of barter, local currencies, and resource sharing that reduce dependence on centralized financial institutions. Each council functions as a micro-government responding directly to the needs of the people that it serves. Step 3, build economic and supply chain independence. Governments maintain control by making citizens dependent on centralized resources, food supply chains, financial systems, and fuel networks. The more self-sufficient a movement becomes, the harder it is to suppress. Local food production, community gardens, independent farming cooperatives, and local distribution hubs. Alternative currency systems. In the event that government-backed currency loses its value, many people are already looking at decentralized digital assets as a potential store of wealth and means of trade. Some suggest that investments in Bitcoin, Algorand, and Cardano could provide a decentralized alternative to fiat money, as they are designed to be independent of government control. Energy independence, localized microgrids, solar power co-ops, and alternative fuel sources. No system can function without an economic foundation. The stronger these alternative networks become, the less leverage centralized power structures have over the people. Step 4, develop an independent legal system. When government institutions become unreliable or outright corrupt, people still need legal mechanisms to resolve disputes and maintain social order. Arbitration councils, community-based courts that handle civil disputes, enforce contracts, and mediate conflicts. Legal defense networks, lawyers, and legal experts prepared to defend individuals targeted by an oppressive system. Common law framework, a return to constitutional and natural law principles as a basis for governance. A legal system is only as powerful as the people recognize its authority. When enough people turn to an alternative system for justice, it becomes the de facto legal standard. Same with currency. Step 5, organize a national coordination structure. Local governance is critical, but for a full-scale transition, there must be a way to unify efforts across the country. A modern continental Congress, representatives from regional councils who come together to draft a formal governing framework. Parallel legislative structures, laws, and policies developed by the new system that gradually supplant those of the failing government. A framework for transition, a clear legal process for how power shifts when time comes. The goal here is not a coup. Let me make that perfectly clear. It is a contingency plan, a roadmap for what happens when a government collapses under its own weight. Step 6, gain public buy-in. A government is only as strong as the belief people have in it. The more people who see the alternative system as legitimate, the more inevitable its rise becomes. Direct community service. Prove the system's value by solving real problems, feeding the hungry, protecting communities, providing legal aid, medical aid, messaging strategy. Tell the story effectively. People don't just need solutions, they need to believe in the vision behind them. Strategic alliances work with sympathetic businesses, organizations, even foreign entities that see the value in a stable transition. Public trust isn't given, it's earned. And when people are looking for leadership in a crisis, they'll turn to the system that has already been working in their best interest. Step 7, prepare for the transition of power. No failing government gives up control willingly. The final step is preparing for the moment when alternative systems must step into the vacuum. I'm not suggesting here, again, that we create that vacuum. I'm suggesting that the vacuum will create itself and we should be ready. Mass mobilization, civil disobedience, general strikes, and coordinated actions that demonstrate the people's withdrawal of consent. Institutional takeover, courts, public services, and infrastructure must be smoothly transitioned to avoid chaos. Avoiding internal division, nothing kills a movement faster than infighting. A clear, disciplined leadership structure is crucial. When the time comes, the transition should feel less like a revolution and more like an inevitability. The role of alternative currencies in economic resilience. One major challenge in any government collapse scenario is financial survival. The value of government-backed currency is directly tied to confidence in the system that supports it. If that system fails, traditional money can become worthless overnight. Some people believe that decentralized digital assets like Bitcoin, Algorand, and Cardano could provide a hedge against economic collapse. Unlike traditional fiat currency, these cryptocurrencies operate outside of government control, are borderless, and widely traded across the world. Bitcoin, considered by many to be digital gold, Bitcoin is the most decentralized and widely recognized cryptocurrency. Algorand, designed for speed and scalability, Algorand is gaining traction as a transaction-friendly currency with low fees. Cardano, known for its scientific approach to blockchain technology, Cardano is a long-term project that prioritizes decentralization and sustainability. While no investment is without risk, those who are concerned about financial instability are increasingly looking at cryptocurrencies as a way to preserve wealth and maintain purchasing power in uncertain times. To conclude, this isn't theory, it's history. It's how every major power shift in the modern world has occurred, from the fall of the Soviet Union to the Arab Spring. Governments don't last forever, and when they collapse, the people who are ready to step in define what comes next. The question isn't if the system will reach a breaking point. The question is, who will be ready when it does? And if the financial system fails alongside it, those who have diversified their assets into decentralized alternatives may be in the best position to weather the coming storm.